Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Grant Cameron, and I have a special new guest with me today, Sinead Whelehan. And we first met in Toronto last year. And Sinead has actually become sort of another person where my theory in life, I'm a very big Michael Newton fan for people who know. And the idea that you run into people in your life, and if you get it, especially if you get a synchronicity that deals with somebody, you have to follow that road. And if you meet somebody and you suddenly think there's something about this person or whatever, you follow your feelings. And Sinead has turned out to be one of those people who it's happened very fast. We've had a lot of interaction, and Sinead will be joining me in doing interviews. People who know me know that I'm really not a big interview person unless people are with me and I have a group or whatever, then I can talk. But I'm not a big interview person, and Sinead is going to help me with these interviews, and she can talk herself about what her inspiration was. But I want to welcome Sinead from Toronto to my little podcast here, and thank you for joining my life, and thank you for being on my show.
Oh, well, the feeling is mutual, Grant. I'm so pleased to be here, and I really appreciate the invitation, so I'm happy to be here. Hi, everyone.
Beautiful. Let's go through how this starts. You have sort of an awakening. You have, and we'll get into that in other shows, your sort of backstory. But you come to the MUFON group holds a big conference in Toronto. You live in Toronto.
Yes.
And you come to the conference and we meet. So let's start with there. You tell the story of how we met and what happened there.
Okay, sure. So I had quite a huge experience of contact in this past summer, 2019, that I won't get into right now because we're holding on to that. But the after effect was absolutely enormous. It literally changed me and every aspect of my life overnight. And so for about 3 weeks after that experience, I became obsessed with everything having to do with UFOs and ETs and this whole world, which is not like me. I don't generally get obsessed about things. I don't have an obsessive personality. So that was something I was really noticing. I felt very, very, very compelled to follow this. And that was part of my message actually in the summer was you have to pay attention to this and you have to act on this. And so as part of my action, I started seeking out ways that I could connect with other people and with just madly, reading, absorbing everything I possibly could and following up on people I heard about. So one of the people that I found through my rapid searching online was the Honorable Paul Hellyer. And so I wrote to him and said, Mr. Hellyer, I really admire you and your courage and everything you've done for this community. And I'm looking for where to go. All I know is I'm supposed to be here and I'm supposed to be doing this, but I don't really know where I'm going with this yet. It was very early days in my experience. This whole thing started in the summer 7 months ago. And so this is maybe 2 weeks in, and I email him and just say, can you offer me any guidance? And he was really wonderful. And he wrote me back very quickly and said a couple of helpful things. And he also said, you need to go to the Alien Expo that's in September in Toronto. Immediately, I signed up. I got tickets. I was going to go. I signed up for every part of it, full 2 days and the gala dinner. So I went on my own. No one else in my life that I know of is involved in this world yet. And so I went, and what happened was I didn't know who you were, Grant, not a clue. Didn't know really who anybody really was. All of this was completely new to me. So totally unaware of your background and your reputation and all of that. And got there and went through the first full day, felt amazing, just absolutely loved it, and was very excited about the gala dinner where Travis Walton was going to be speaking. Fire in the Sky had a huge impact on me when I saw it as a teenager. So I bumped into this other person that I had actually met before, only once before, at a C5 that we had tried out. And so we went together to the dining room for the gala dinner. And it was empty. Nobody was there yet. None of the tables were taken. And we just went up to a random table and put our stuff down at 2 chairs, went up to get our buffet dinner, came back and suddenly found ourselves at a table with a bunch of people that are from what I recall, movers and shakers in this world, yourself included. You were sitting directly across from me. And so I realized that I knew at that point that we had some friends in common. So I went up and introduced myself and said hello. We had a really nice conversation. And then, what's his name? Otterson was sitting next to you, and he was sort of elbowing me, let the man have his dinner, you know. So I got out of the way and went and sat down and ate. And then the next day I saw you in the lobby and went up to you to say hello. And we ended up having a great chat. I shared a little bit of my experience, and you were interested, and you encouraged me to email you so that you could connect me with some other people. So the short version after that is I emailed you 3 times, didn't get a response, which was totally fine. I know how incredibly busy you are, totally understood that. And I just thought, okay, you know, either we'll connect or we won't. And then about 3 weeks ago, you, I think, wrote a comment or responded to something on my Facebook or something I posted on Facebook. I don't actually even remember. And I thought, oh, there he is. Maybe he got my emails. So I sent you an email and just said, hello, did you get my emails? Just wanted to say hi. And you wrote back and said, why don't we have a video chat? And then the first video chat we had was where the synchronicity occurred, I believe. Maybe it was our second video chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that we started our video chat at exactly 3:33, when threes are a very, very big pattern in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, well, I'll just make a comment. I mean, sometimes I have this idea, you know, that you meet up with certain people who are to do certain things with you, that you made some arrangement before you came here, whether it happened or not. But if you believe that kind of stuff, it makes it more powerful when you have connections with people. And when you came to the table, we were sitting with Sid Goldberg from Gaia TV.
Yes.
And I remember Desta, who is my assistant, who is very much like you. You're sort of like twins. Desta had gone and sat at another table. I can't remember who she was sitting with, but she's sitting at someone's, and then you came up, and it's almost like where you get the thing where the angels are walking among you, but you don't realize it. And I didn't realize it at that point, because I remember having some conversations with you, but you don't catch it. And then you emailed me, and it was the same thing happened to Desta. That Desta, I met her in Vancouver, where she was living at the time. And then she contacted me back and said, you know, I remember we met at Vancouver, and I said, no, not really. And so it took a couple of times there. And then she had this download experience where I said, I'll meet with her in the morning. And she had this download experience before she came to the meeting. And then it was like, sort of like, boom. It was like, I suddenly realized this is what it was. It was like I have this thing where Newton talks about, you see the woman with the brooch, and you know, okay, the brooch, you got to make the connection. And so the connection came with me with you, in terms of you had contacted me, almost like this. We just had a conversation with Annette Williamson,
Mm-hmm.
and she had made these contacts with me, and I didn't realize who she was until I heard her on the Joe Woods podcast show, and I went, "Who's this woman?" and realized that I actually had contact with. So sometimes they have to hit you a couple of times on the head. But what happened with the synchronicity, the part I remember was, I'm doing a DNA experiment, which we won't get into, but that morning, and I'm not much into the number thing. The number I saw 1111. I remember I was in the room, and I don't wear a watch, so I don't really look at time. And I have just a watch, an alarm clock, a digital alarm clock. And I went 1111. I go, oh, that's that 1111 thing. And I go, wow, whatever. And then I open an email in which I may have one of the top physical mediums in the world is going to take the DNA test. And I went, wow, this is pretty cool. And then we had, in the afternoon, we had the video chat, and I guess it was 333 when we were having the chat. And I said, it was kind of weird because I had the 1111 in the morning, and then I went, oh, it's 333. And then I had said to you, we were talking about, you know, doing stuff, and that you had this sort of dream about doing interviews and stuff. And I always had this thing, like, I need someone to help me do interviews. And it was at that point where I decided I would make an offer to you. So I actually wrote it out on Word, in a Word program.
Mm-hmm.
And then all I did was transfer it over in the morning. And I remember every Sunday morning I go to the university, and I work at the university. So I was at the university, and I said, I've got an offer. I've got a message for you. And I had it all typed out already. And then you said, read your email. And so when I went to read the email, here's this message, and you can get into what the message said, but there's this process about getting experience where if you write down what you want, you go through the analysis and you actually write the question out and put it beside the bed, or put the question, your higher self will give you the answer. And you had done this, and you were giving this message, and it said basically, what should I do? And I had this message typed out already in Word to say, I would like you to help me do these interviews, because this is something I really don't like to do myself. And I think this is something maybe you're called to do. And so it was the synchronicity. And it was, I think you had it at 3:33 in the morning. What's that?
Oh yeah, it was just the craziest thing. I mean, it was just really crazy. First of all, noticing, I don't even know why I looked at the time when we started our video chat at 3:33. I don't look at the time much either. I don't wear a watch either. I don't pay a lot of attention to time. So seeing that 3:33 right when our interview began, our video chat began, and then we talked about a bunch of stuff, like you said. And then I told you when we finished our video chat that night I was going to follow that suggestion you had made to me about a week earlier of writing down a question I had for them, these beings I'm communicating with, and put it by my bed and go to sleep and just see what happens. And I remember feeling kind of doubtful about that. Not that I doubted you, but just that I don't remember my dreams ever. I never remember my dreams. And so, you know, we had our video chat and it finished, and then, and I was jazzed, as I have been a lot these days because of all this incredible stuff that's happening to me. And so I was up. I couldn't go to sleep. I really needed to, but I couldn't go to sleep. And so I was reading some stuff and I'm watching some stuff. And then I'm like, right, I really have to go to bed, got to go to bed. So, you know, got in my pajamas, brushed my teeth, did that whole routine. And then literally I was about to get into my bed. My covers are turned back. I'm about to get into my bed and I pick up my phone and look at it, and it's 3:33 a.m.
Yeah.
And
you actually photographed that for me.
I photographed it and sent it to you. I took a screenshot. And not only that, but I had written on already, like just seconds before that, had written on a piece of paper to put next to my bed. The question was exactly, what am I supposed to do to benefit all the living beings and the planet on this, in this lifetime? Like, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? And I put that down next to my bed, noticed the 3:33, couldn't believe it, and then turned the light off, went to sleep. And the whole night I dreamt this dream I've had for 20 years. That is an incredibly, incredibly intense experience where I become infused with this enormous amount of energy. My body buzzes, my heart pounds. I have extremely strong visualizations that my body and my emotions and my whole system, everything responds to. And it was the dream of speaking to and with people, and about all of this, about love, about consciousness and interconnectedness, and, you know, what really is meaningful in life, and, you know, how important it is to connect with each other, to see each other as we really are, and be kind, and, you know, all this stuff that the ETs and the whole UFO world is really about, you know, raising our vibration and helping the world and connecting with each other, and nothing else really matters. And so that's what that whole night was about. I just dreamt over and over and over again in multiple scenarios, one of which involved me being on Oprah, which was just really kind of hilarious. But that's what I dreamt. And then I woke up in the morning and got your message. And all your message said was, I have a message for you. Yeah. There's something we're supposed to do, or something like that. You didn't even say what it was.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I sent you my email, and I said, this is what I dreamt all night. I sent you a photograph of the
But
note.
I hadn't read that until you said, read the email. And then I read the email when I got to the university.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
And we have the thing with the 3:33. So you have a thing in your life with 3:33. Now, you and I have just done our first interview with Annette Williamson with the beings, and mentioned the threes. So the threes pop up 3 times during that interview that we just concluded.
Yes. Yep. Threes are just an unbelievable continuity in my life. The number of times that they have occurred at particularly significant moments that always have to do with my spiritual growth and my real purpose in life, and, you know, my true self, and all the feelings and the thoughts and ideas that come with that. that's when it happens. It's just really amazing. And it's also been a message to bring me back to myself at times that I have not been
Okay.
able to connect with myself or have been disconnected. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we maybe do a little segment, a little 12-minute segment on threes, but let's go through Annette. So we do Annette. So she has three beings. She's in contact with us for 3 months. And what was the third one?
Well, actually, I forgot about the three beings. The three ones that I noticed was her father passed away, because often people will have a trigger event or trauma event prior to major contact, as you very well know.
Yeah.
So, you know, her father died 3 weeks before her major contact event. Then her contact event started, and she needed 3 months of questioning them for confirmation that this is really real. And then they told her that in 3 generations, her children, the children of Earth, the people of Earth, will have raised to a different level of consciousness. But I also forgot that they were 3 beings. There's just an enormous amount of threes. There are tons of threes in Chris Bledsoe's story of contact. They're everywhere.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, is we have to pick up, is that when you get these synchronicities, some people say that it's your higher self, or it's the spirits who are playing around with your life to tell you, okay, move down this path, move here. And so it happens, the synchronicities, and I've had a lot of really bizarre synchronicities in the last couple of years. I haven't had that many paranormal events in my life, but just in the last couple of years, these bizarre synchronicities where it's like you're being directed. And so we got to pick up on these things and use them to our benefit. So I'm really happy that we've joined forces, and we're doing another interview tonight. And I'm sure we'll see you with me quite a bit talking to people. And I'm honored, because we've had a lot of chats in the last week or whatever. And I even told you in the one experience that we'll talk about, your Peru experience, that you saw these light beings. And I have the firm belief that whatever you see is your spirit level. So if you're having a very dark alien experience, you're vested in fear, and as you move up. So when I heard that you were dealing with these sort of almost like angelic beings that were trying to contact you and trying to talk to you or whatever, then I said, well, you know, like, I need to be in touch with this girl. She's in contact with intelligence. And that's the way I look at it, is that if you want to know what's going on, you got to talk to the people who are who have a contact. Because I really don't, in a lot of ways, don't have the contact. But when I hear your contact, then it's sort of like, well, ask them this, what about this? So I really appreciate your joining me to help me on my path, and I will do whatever I can. And together, I think we'll get out the message, which, if you agree with me or not, is oneness and love is the basic message. And forget the UFOs, forget the aliens, forget it. It's going to be a lot less physical than people think it is, a lot more spiritual than people think it is. And you and I and a few other people have got it. And hopefully we can get the message out and light up our little corner of the world.
I could not agree more. I really could not agree more. I think, you know, the physicality of things is really quite irrelevant. I'm totally with you. It's about one in consciousness. And I'm really grateful to you for inviting me to do this, and just really appreciative. And it's lovely getting to know you and connecting, you know, like this, connecting in such a meaningful way. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. And we'll broadcast this, and our next one, we're going to do your story of Peru, which is a fascinating story of contact. So thanks again. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Grant. Bye.